Hey all, this is Chris Greasy with the Practical Guardian. I am here today with
Brian Hill of the Complete Combatant.
Brian and Shelley Hill. We're down here in Georgia, and I just got finished with their image-based decisional drills instructor certificate and accreditation. I just wanted to take some time and spend some time with you talking about that, because I found this dramatically, I guess I would say, enriching and much more in-depth than I would have ever expected. So can you, real quick, just give me an idea, what was the impetus behind, how was IBDD born?
You know, it's always hard to specify something that doesn't exist and compare it to something. You know, we made something unique here. It's not the uniquest thing in the world, but it does something that we didn't expect. Part of this came about because my wife is dyslexic, so the usual methodology of teaching simply doesn't work very well for her. And as a coach, I was dissatisfied with that too. How do I help people simulate decisions that they need to make under pressure and stress? We do a lot of practice and skills, but we don't practice making good decisions. And we know that good decisions come in before instead of after, so it's pre-need decision making. So the more we practice this, the better we get at it. And usually the only way we could do this was either a big simulator, you know, like the FAT system in law enforcement, or you have to do force on force. But there was no dry practice version of this either. So now we have a card-based version that traveling instructors can use, that you could use at home for dry practice, and you can practice making good decisions. And what you've noticed is it's not just about making a good decision, it's how long it takes you, where you decide to go with it, and how much depth and context you can relate to it.
Absolutely. And I'll add in here, I absolutely love, you mentioned the dry practice, and that is so key. We know that in our shooting aspects of things. But I add this to my dry practice, and it really, just like you've talked numerous times before, if you haven't checked this guy out on YouTube, you really need to. You're getting a whole lot of value for free on the tubes. But we talk so much about that benefit of dry practice, and I get to do so much with so relatively little. I can do 5 cards worth, and there's so much that can stack there. So absolutely.
You know, deliberate practice is not very fun. I mean, let's be honest.
True.
You know, and it's about becoming more accurate and precise, and being more efficient and working on speed, and that applies to decisions. And you know, most people that are pretty good shooters, it's not that they don't know how to shoot, it's they make poor that decision under stress. So how do we practice that? We need some way to practice it, and if you have the same dry practice day in and day out, you're going to get bored. So if we can add some variety with, you know, one day of image-based decisional drills, and then you get some context and you think, wow, this is really important, I need to work on this, or I need to work on that. It gives you a framing for future practice too, and it guides you to small manageable goals, which allows you to get mastery over the subject, and that's what we're all trying to do.
Absolutely. What do we, as we're talking about this, maybe this dovetails into where did it come from, but what do we need, and without sounding accusatory, what void does this fill? Why do we need it? What void does the image-based decisional drills really help us fill?
So as a coach, I look at people as 3 parts. One is the technical skills, and that's very important. We're going to relate it to athletes because that's what I call everybody. You're an athlete, a personal defender. The other part is psychological and physiological, and we don't spend much time on it. We do talk a little bit in the psychological part about them, the bad guys, but we don't talk about how we operate very well. We have some key words, but we don't recognize how our altered perceptions affect our decisions and how our biology really changes the way that we react to things. So we need some practice on, 1, what is the sensation of making a good or bad decision? And 2, what does it feel to be a little adrenalized, have a little bit of stress on us, a little bit of risk and reward, and realizing that our decisions, while they may be good enough, they'll never be perfect. And perfect is what we're trying to avoid. Even in shooting, perfect decision is relative to the size of the target. So it doesn't matter. But people that train hard want perfect decisions all the time. What we really have to do is make good enough decisions. And what you probably learned in class is the sooner you make a good decision, the less of the event you have to deal with.
Absolutely.
You know?
Even just the good decision, one of the things, and we'll probably see another video on my channel that you guys took earlier in the day, but even one of the things, again, making a good decision to say, you know, I don't know that I can identify. And later on, within a couple repetitions, that helped free me up to actually identify. And the thought process, we won't go too deep into that, but the thought process that allowed me to work into is amazing. Speak to, if you can, and we're talking intangibly here, something that is tangible, but just speak to, if somebody's wanting to check out this kit, and I can try and include some links here and stuff for that. If people are wanting to understand, how can I take this one thing and well, again, it gets boring. How does that not get boring? Because I've seen over and over all the variables and just how this blows up. Can you give some wording to that? How that can just mesh out and have so many different tangible aspects, variables, interests.
So as you're drilling, like today, we saw the necessity to have a very good draw when it's under pressure.
Yeah.
So what most people don't understand is their time on the range is not what it happens in real life. We have the time it takes to do an action, time it takes for us to react, so therefore it's response time. So we start getting validation that I can do what's appropriate. If I decide that maybe pepper spray is a good idea for me because I don't have any non-lethal applications, it's not as easy to apply or to decide to use pepper spray as everybody thinks. We learn to watch the person's hands. We learn to make good decisions on it. We have to learn to verbalize with it. So you're getting a contextually rich environment that requires multiple processes that some of them frankly have to be automated.
Yeah.
Like verbal skills need to be somewhat automated so that we can watch the other person and be able to do that. So you're developing a ability to spread your wings and make profound decisions with very little information.
Okay.
And that's how self-defense really is.
It really is. It's a very
quick.
realistic concept of what we've got going on. The more that I got into it, the more that I worked today, this weekend with you guys, the more I realized it might be physically something in front of me that at first glance, stick with me, and I don't mean might feel a little bit artificial.
Yep.
There is not.
Yep.
When you allow yourself to engage with this process, there's so much that is truly applicable, and I absolutely agree. One last thing I just wanted to ask: is there anything that you want to say to people, to tell people about this, whether it's the mission statement of IBDD or something to fill them in to help them with a little nugget about this this class, this product, about you guys?
So I mentioned this in class today, but I'm a very big proponent of having a growth mindset.
Yes.
And that means that you're not fixed as far as strength, intelligence, endurance, agility, decisional skills, that we can improve these things if we simply learn how to work on them. And part of that process is realizing that sometimes we're going to make the wrong decision and that we do it in a protected environment where there's no long-term consequences. Because if you don't recognize that you could make a wrong decision, it's very easy to rush right into it and then to double down on it.
Yes.
If you don't recognize what it's like going too fast, you don't know how to throttle back down. So this is a safe environment for you to practice that whole thing of exploring and growing. And the more you do this, the more things you'll be able to handle at one time. And that's what we're really doing. We're not multitasking, but we're putting a bunch of things together. Like the draw is fairly automated, but the decision to shoot comes from very basic things. You know, where we may have to do verbal skills and then pepper spray and then deploy a flashlight, and then we may move backwards. That's a lot of stuff for every human being.
Yeah.
And what we find with almost everyone is we overestimate our skills.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to rise to the occasion, and you whatever skill you have is born of struggle and practice. So if you won't struggle and you don't practice, you're not going to have a whole lot of skill.
Yeah.
But if you do that, you're going to be accurate in your assessments. You're going to be consistent with your decisions. You're going to be efficient, and you'll be disciplined in your ability to apply force.
Yeah. You brought up the idea, the concept. I love this. So it sticks in my mind of that reservoir of skills. And if I don't have them, if I've not practiced that, I am at a deficit versus I have much more to pull from, that pool to pull from, if I provide myself that ability to do so.
If I may, it's like a deadlift.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
Do I need to lift 450 pounds on a daily basis? No, but it's sure nice to be able to do it. Because when I need to lift 300 and I'm a little sore that day and my weight shifts, I've got an extra ability to make up for my mistakes.
Perfect.
You know, so you're doing the same thing when you're developing these decisional drills. Is that if you fumble a little bit, you know it's only going to cost you a quarter of a second,
Right.
and something like that, and it allows you to stay in it, and it keeps you away from that idea that I'm ultimately sliding down the bad reactive cycle of decisions.
Fantastic. Real quick, as we close, let people know a little bit, how can we find out about you guys? I know you travel around a lot. You just need to be on the tubes or know some of our common friends. But what's a website? What's a tool? What's a social media presence of something of that nature?
Well, my wife did a great job with this, Shelley Hill, and she's the brain trust behind the image-based decisional drills, and she does all the marketing. So we have the regular website, which is the CompleteCombatant.com. Then we have image-based decisional drills.com, which makes it really easy. We're on social media. We have 2 Instagram accounts. We have a YouTube account. We have Facebook. So whatever your preference is, we're available. If you'll simply go to our website, you'll see all the social media in there. A friend of mine just told me how many videos I've made, and it's horrifying. I've put out about 1,000 free videos. And on active self-protection, I do the Manus Dry Fire Monday.
Absolutely.
So that's another 60 or 70 free videos. And I don't hold any information back. I teach everything that I know because that makes me better in the long run.
Yep, it makes us better. So there's a great investment in yourself, people. But if you have that opportunity, you really need to check out their website. You really need to interact with them. There's only so much that we can do by ourselves virtually. You gotta come down here. Plus, it's beautiful. Georgia's beautiful. You know, this area, Dahlonega, is fantastic. So absolutely. And if you can't come here, chances are within a year you'll probably be someplace closer to somebody else. So fantastic.
Or you can bring me to you. You know,
absolutely. Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
I'd be glad to travel. So
yeah, fantastic. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your interest. I appreciate your time watching this video. Again, this is Chris Greasy with the Complete.
Train with this guy.
Not the Complete Combatant. See, I'm so excited. I call. Thank you.
He's now an endorsed instructor.
Yes, fantastic. So, you know, come talk to me as well. But this is Chris Greasy with Practical Guardian. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.